Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, Preparing Your Integrations for the Move to the Utility Network. We're really glad that you joined us today. My name is Lindsay, and I'll be your moderator for today's meeting. And before we get started, I'd like to go through some housekeeping items. First of all, if you have any difficulties using the WebEx during the presentation, please use the chat feature, and I'll try to assist you. If you have any questions regarding the content of the presentation, you can use the Q&A feature on the right-hand side of your screen to submit questions, and we'll leave 15 minutes at the end to answer your questions. There will also be 2 polling questions on today's webinar. The polling question will pop up on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll give you some time to choose your answer, and we really appreciate your responses. Finally, I'd like to introduce the speakers on today's call. We have Ryan, our lead sales rep here, and Akshata, one of our developers, who will be giving a demonstration of GeoWorx Sync for the utility network later in the presentation. So with that, I'll hand it off to Ryan to get started.
Thank you, Lindsay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, December 13th. My name is Ryan Gall. I'm the lead salesman here at Geo Nexus Technologies. I'm going to be walking you guys through an agenda first off. So we're going to be going through a brief introduction of Geo Nexus Technologies, followed with a complex enterprise data integration slide. It's also going to have a GeoWorks roadmap on it as well. We're going to be talking today about the GeoWorx Sync integration that we have built today that's ready for the utility network. Akshata is going to take it from there and show you guys a live demo of it. We're going to follow that up with why we believe GeoWorx Sync should be your preferred integration solution, and then a Q&A and a conclusion. So without any further ado, so here at Geo Nexus Technologies, we were founded by Skip Heiss back in 2009 in his hometown of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Skip had worked for companies like Esri and EMA doing system integrations that brought him to want to build a productized solution in GeoWorx Sync. While at EMA, he met Jeremy Wolf. Jeremy is our VP of Product Development. So the two have a combined working experience of over 50 years doing custom integrations across municipalities and local governments, utilities ranging across the entire country. We have nearly 50 active customers today on our logo list with an international presence. We have majority of our customers are here located in the States, but we have quite a few up in Canada, also in Abu Dhabi, and down in Australia. Cool thing about our Australia customers are we have a partnership in place with Esri Australia for them to be a authorized reseller of our GeoWorks platform. We're also business partners with all Tier 1 vendors. Today we support Esri's ArcGIS platform, IBM's Maximo, ABB's Ellipse, SAP's Enterprise Asset Management, and Oracle's Work in Asset Management 1.9 2.0 and their C2M suite of products. So here, our company mission here at Geo Nexus Technologies is to ensure integrity and reliability of your enterprise data. You know, we understand that there's lots of data throughout the organization. A lot of that deals with assets, work orders, service requests, and that data is managed by multiple business systems. So we provide a technology that helps you understand and make sure that the data is accurate and reliable to ultimately ensure that the integrity is maintained to help support the business. So we do this through our fully supported software that provides easy access and reliable system integration. And the 3 products that we have here today at Geo Nexus Technologies are our GeoWorx Sync integration tool, our map-centric viewer, GeoWorks Office, and our comprehensive redlining solution, GeoWorks Sketch. So with this slide, we're really going to talk about the multiple systems that can be found within your enterprise. For instance, you might have a GIS system that's meant to manage your maps or infrastructure in a spatial context. You might also utilize a customer information system, such as CC&B. That's used to manage your customers' information, their addresses, their service premise, also billing information. You also probably utilize an enterprise asset management system, such as Maximo or SAP, and that's to store information for the working assets. You might also utilize an outage management system or a mobile technology. So really the point of this slide is to highlight that throughout all of these different systems, the same data is going to be stored within them all. For instance, let's take a location. Location will be useful in your GIS, so you can see the location in a graphical context. You also want that location information in your customer information system so you can build the resident that is using the energy you're providing. You also want that location address in the outage management system. For instance, if there's a power outage, you want to be able to notify those customers that are affected by it. You also have assets and equipment within your enterprise. Let's take, for instance, a meter. A meter is useful to store in GIS so you know where it is in the map-centric view. You also want that customer information system in there as well for the meter, because then you can bill against it and you know how much energy the customer is consuming. A meter is an asset, so for a work order or service request to be created, you're going to do that from your enterprise asset management system. The point of this slide really is to show that, you know, with all these different systems, your data has the opportunity to become compromised. And that's really where Geo Nexus Technology comes into play with our platform of products. You know, as you guys can see, we have 3 products today, those being GeoWorks Office, Sketch, and Sync. Sync being the integration tool that we're going to highlight a little bit more in detail later on in this webinar. But GeoWorks Office is an insertable widget that is made available through Esri's ArcGIS Web App Builder. Through this widget, you're able to access your enterprise asset management information in a web-centric viewer. From there, you're able to create work orders, service requests, view asset specification history, attach multiple assets to a specific work order, or multiple work orders to a specific asset. It also is supported, it can be used in the field as long as you're connected to the internet and have the supported browser on your tablet. So it's really meant to be good. It's meant to be used as a great visualization of your asset information in a graphical context. Our GeoWorks Sketch tool is a comprehensive redlining system used to enhance communication and collaboration throughout your enterprise. Excuse me. Sketch allows a distributed workforce to inform asset managers of changes made to the infrastructure as a result of performing, let's say, an inspection, or maybe an installation, or perhaps even a repair. So really the point is that you can see that we have 3 individual products that work great independently. However, when they come together to form an entire platform that's all focused around increasing data integrity and reliability of your enterprise data.
So with that, we have our first poll question for today. The first question is, how do you currently integrate between your GIS and your asset management system? I'll go ahead and open the poll. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lindsay. So now I'm going to run you guys through what we have released today here at Geo Nexus Technologies, what's in progress, what's currently being built, and what we have planned in the pipeline for us in the future. So as of today, like I mentioned, we're business partners with all Tier 1 vendors. So currently we do support Esri's ArcGIS geometric network, the utility network. We also support Schneider's ArcFM and their designer tool. For IBM's Maximo, we support IBM's Maximo, also ABB's Ellipse, SAP's Enterprise and Asset Management System, and Oracle's Utilities Work and Asset Management 1.9, 2.0, and their C2M suite of products. In progress here at Geo Nexus Technologies, we are currently building a RDBMS connector, which will essentially open the door for us to connect to generic databases. For example, you might have some data that's in a table that you want to connect to your enterprise system. In order to do that, you can use our RDBMS connector. You also might have some legacy technologies that might be built on, let's say, SQL Server or Oracle. Maybe they don't have any open APIs to be able to communicate with those systems. With the RDBMS connector, we can simply connect that table to identify the data fields you want to synchronize with, and then set that data set within GeoWorx Sync to accomplish the function. Another exciting tool functionality we have being built is our multi-system sync functionality. This will essentially give you the ability to synchronize multiple systems bidirectionally. So for this picture, we utilize this customer information system, enterprise asset management in your GIS. Theoretically, any system you choose to integrate with can be plugged in, so it doesn't have to be just those three. But let's take, for instance, a meter is born in your GIS system. You also need that meter information in your customer information and your enterprise asset management. Through the multi-system sync functionality, anytime that meter is worked upon in any other system, it can automatically update and communicate with the other systems that store the same data. That way, it ensures data integrity and reduces manual re-entry of the data multiple times. What we have planned for GeoWorks in the future is to look at some other vendors such as Harris Utilities, OSI Soft, Tyler Technologies, Infor, Kayenta. We also plan on opening up the SDK and APIs so that system integrators and developers are able to build their own connectors and business logic for synchronization. By offering a public API SDK, allows the system integrator or in-house developer to build connectors to a specific system. Let's say you have a legacy system or a smaller system that it really doesn't make business sense for Geo Nexus to build a productized connector for. By opening up these SDKs, it allows your enterprise to kind of take even more control and build a connector to a system that we would not build one for. We also are noticing a big push to the cloud for a lot of systems, so we're going to be following suit in the future and making GeoWorks platform available for the cloud as well. So big reason why most of you are here today is because of the geometric network ending support in 2024. Esri has already released the utility network, which we're seeing some enterprises adopt, but by 2024 they're going to be ending their support for the geometric network. So right now is a crucial time for your enterprises to start planning their strategic 3 to 5 year GIS roadmap to either include that or decide what their plans are ultimately going to be. You know, with this end of the geometric support, Esri's new tool, the utility network, is much more robust and very exciting. It's going to be around for the next, hopefully 15 to 20 years in the utility industry.
So with that, we have our second polling question for today. The question is, when does your organization plan to migrate to the utility network? So I'll go ahead and open the poll and give you a few moments to respond. All right, thank you very much.
So some of the key benefits of the utility network are, it models how all components of your system are connected. It also enforces data integrity and reduces data entry errors. It has a built-in mechanism to detect any logically inconsistent associations among features. For instance, you're not going to be able to connect a medium voltage transformer to a high voltage line. Some simple things like that. It has built-in mechanisms to identify it. It also enables advanced analysis of your network. It provides a comprehensive view of your network as well. So your utility network is very complex and dynamic. The utility network provides a variety of ways to explore these assets and connectivity to your system. It also will allow quick delivery of information with large data sets, which is very useful moving forward with all the moving parts and pieces within a utility enterprise. So most importantly, why we're having this webinar today is because ultimately the integrations currently in place will break with the upgrade to the utility network. This is where GeoWorx Sync and Geo Nexus comes into the picture. Currently today we support Esri's geometric network. So if you are looking for a new integration system, or maybe you don't have any integration currently in place, we can come in, get your systems, your data aligned, make sure everything is, your data has not been compromised and everything is good to go. So eventually when you do make that migration from the geometric network to the utility network, GeoWorx Sync can ensure that your data has not been compromised. And another exciting functionality and really a big part of this presentation is, when you decide to migrate from the geometric to the utility, GeoWorx Sync, we can simply repoint the connection from the geometric to the utility, reconfigure it, and have your integration up and running seamlessly. So that way everything is good to go, your data is intact, and your systems are communicating effectively. So now I'm going to take you guys through a little bit more of what GeoWorx Sync can do and some of its functionalities. On the screen are two pictures of the GUI, the graphical user interface that you would see when you pull GeoWorx Sync up. So really the point of GeoWorx Sync is to do a full compare for true bidirectional sync 100% of the time. Whether it be run on demand or on a schedule, most of our customers do like to run it on a schedule because they're integrating hundreds of thousands, if not millions of assets at a time. GeoWorx Sync can handle it. It also is loosely coupled, meaning it is not customized for your systems that you're wishing to integrate with. It essentially is a middleware that sits in between the two. It configures, it validates, and makes sure that the data being passed between those two systems is accurate and the integrity has not been compromised. It also avoids, this loosely coupled factor also avoids version lock, meaning GeoWorx Sync allows you to independently upgrade any of the systems that it's communicating between. It also can handle data loading and transformation, meaning if GeoWorx Sync is in place at your enterprise today and you decide to replace a legacy system with a new enterprise asset management or customer information system, and the information that you need is stored in your GIS or whatever system it is stored in, GeoWorx Sync can connect to those two systems and propagate it from one system to another. It also can handle transformation scenarios, meaning sometimes in GIS, let's take for instance a wood pole, and a wood pole in GIS might be described as a numerical value 1, but in your enterprise asset management system, it can't identify that numerical value of 1. It has to have an actual description of it. GeoWorx Sync can identify that and say, hey, in GIS, we're assigning you a value of 1, but in your enterprise asset management system, we're now converting that 1 into the wood pole. It's the same exact asset, just two different descriptions in the two different systems. It also has advanced reporting, meaning every single time GeoWorx Sync is run, a PDF and an XML file are produced. Within that PDF, everything from the time it took to perform the synchronization, the amount of assets that were synchronized, if there were any errors, anomalies, duplicates, orphans, linear splits, editing scenarios that need to be identified, all that is depicted in that PDF. So it's a great visualization for your workers. It can be used for auditing purposes. It's really one of the key benefits of GeoWorx Sync. It also can handle complex editing scenarios, for instance, a linear split. If you decide if there's a 100-foot pipe out in the field that needs to be work needs to be performed upon. Let's say a collar needs to be inserted at the 50-foot mark. GeoWorx Sync can identify the parent pipe of 100 feet and now can identify the two sub-assets that were created from it. So it will identify that 100-foot parent pipe, and now that there's two individual pipes that were essentially born from that parent pipe, GeoWorx Sync can accomplish that feature and update your systems correspondingly. And for today's webinar's purposes, we already support the utility network. We're actually part of Esri's 10.7 early adopter program, which is very exciting news for us, and we're happy to be part of it. So some of the benefits of a productized solution, it eliminates version lock. That's where the loosely coupled factor comes in. So you're able to independently upgrade any of the systems it's currently integrating with. It reduces project risk, meaning we have nearly 50 active customers as of today. You can ask any 50 of those customers how GeoWorx Sync is performing, and they'll give rave reviews. It's not a custom-built integration, meaning you know exactly what you're getting when you purchase it. You don't have to wait until the code has been written or the project to be complete in order to see the integration taking place. It's really one of the key benefits of having a productized solution as an integration. It's very easy to install. It takes minutes to install on your server. It takes a little bit longer to configure, but ultimately it's meant to be super easy to use. And of course, it's fully supported by our software developmental team here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Their job is to make sure that if any bugs occur, any fixes or patches need to be performed, that it's done, and we support your roadmap as well. So it's a great tool. It's productized. It's ready to go today. So now I'm going to pass the presentation off to Akshata, who is going to show you a demo of how we can populate the hierarchy in Maximo from the utility network. For the demo, we will be using Maximo, but folks, please keep in mind that this applies to any of the asset management systems and systems that we currently integrate with, those being SAP's Enterprise Asset Management, ABB's Ellipse, Oracle's Work and Asset Management 1.9, 2.0, their C2M suite of products as well. And with that, Akshata.
Thank you, Ryan. Today what we want to see is how we can bring the connectivity that is established in utility network inside of GIS, maintain it in GIS, and propagate it to your work and asset management system. I'm going to show an example of GeoWorx Sync support for Maximo, but this could be applied to any of your work and asset management system that your organization uses. The data model that we're using today is General Electrical model with utility network support. What we are going to see is we are going to look at a couple of transformers. Transformers could be overhead transformer or an underground transformer. The main difference between them is the overhead transformer is attached to the pole, which is a support structure, and underground transformer is attached to a pad, which is a surface structure. What we want to see is we want to bring in the hierarchy of these associations into our work and asset management system. So we have two scenarios here today. The first scenario being the pole being attached to a transformer bank and transformer bank containing the transformer. And the second scenario, the pad being attached to the transformer and transformer bank again containing the transformer. In Maximo, our work and asset management system, we are going to have locations for poles, pads, transformer banks, and assets for transformers. We have GeoWorx Sync set up today here where the data is coming from GIS to your work and asset management system. But we are totally aware that the changes to the transformer banks or transformers could be done by the field crew, and GeoWorx Sync supports that, meaning you can always go from your work and asset management system to your GIS. Today what we have done is we have installed the underground and overhead transformers. So let me show you all the different associations. So this is the first scenario, which is an overhead transformer. So if we go ahead and look at the different associations, let's go ahead and check for the attachment. So if we select the pole and check for the attachment, what we can see is the pole is attached to the transformer bank. Now if we want to see the containment, select the transformer bank. So we can see that the transformer bank contains the transformer. So this is the first scenario wherein pole is attached to the transformer bank and transformer bank contains the transformer. Now let's go ahead and see our second scenario. So in our second scenario, similarly, let's go and see the attachment. So you can see that the pad is attached to the transformer. And if we go ahead and see the containment, if you see the containment, again the transformer bank contains the transformer. So in this second scenario, what we can see is how pad is attached to the transformer, whereas again transformer bank containing the transformer. Let's go ahead and run the GeoWorx Sync now. So this is the GeoWorx Sync for Maximo GUI. So it has different configurations for connections, for data sets. So in connections for utility network, you can either have an ArcGIS online connection or your ArcGIS portal connection. And for your work and asset management system, you would configure under your work and asset management system connections like Maximo connection here. Here we have different data sets for poles, pads, transformer banks, and transformer. They are in the hierarchy of their creation. So if you go here and look at the poles data set, what we can see is how they are filtered according to the asset group and asset type, which is newly introduced in utility network. Again, if you want to further filter it out, you could always use the where clause. So here you can see it is filtered according to the asset group, and again you can filter in asset type and or where clause. So if we go here and see at the different synchronization rules, what we can see is how we can map the different fields from GIS to your work and asset management system. You could always have default values going in to your work and asset management system or any of the GIS fields. So now let's go ahead and run the GeoWorx Sync. When we start synchronizing with the GeoWorx Sync, what happens is it would load the configuration, followed by validating the configuration like connections, the data mappings, the data sets. So if there are any errors during the execution, it would indicate in a red block. On successful creation, it would always show an yellow block indicating it was successfully created. So now it's going ahead and creating poles, pads, transformer banks, and transformer in their hierarchy. As you can see, the poles were created, the location, and it has indicated in a yellow block, followed by creating one location for the pad. Now it's going ahead and creating transformer bank. You would see two new creations of transformer bank. Each of them would correspond to their respective pole or pad in the hierarchy. Also, once that has been created, you will see two new creations of transformers. You all know that the transformers are assets, but they would have locations of their corresponding transformer bank, meaning overhead transformer would have the location of its corresponding overhead transformer bank, whereas an underground pad mounted transformer would have the location of the underground pad mounted transformer bank. So once the GeoWorx Sync runs, there is always creation of a report. Now let's go ahead and see the GeoWorx Sync report. So here you have different modules for create, update, any discrepancies, duplicates, deletes, or warnings. Let's go and see the creates. Here you can see there's a new location created for pole, a new location for pad, two new locations for transformer banks, and two new transformers. what we can do is we can grab one of these transformer asset IDs and look for them in our work and asset management system. So if we go here and under assets, look for the particular asset. Here you can see a newly created transformer, which is an overhead single phase transformer, our first scenario. It has the location of its corresponding transformer bank. If we go here and do an open drill down and do show part to the top, you can see the entire hierarchy that we saw in our utility network being brought into our work and asset management system, wherein the transformer is being attached to the transformer bank to the pole in the electrical distribution network. Similarly, you can always have your attributes or specifications being populated from your GIS to your work and asset management system. So now let's go ahead and take the second transformer. Search for the transformer. Here you can see it's a pad-mounted three-phase transformer. It has the location of its corresponding pad-mounted transformer bank. Let's do a similar open drill down path here. Here you can see again the transformer bank and the pad hierarchy, which was our second scenario. Similarly, it would have the specifications being pulled in from GIS as well. So this is just an example where we showed the data coming in from GIS to your work and asset management system, but you can always go from your work and asset management system to your GIS. Now I hand over to Ryan.
Thank you, Akshata. So ultimately, why would you choose GeoWorx Sync? Well, first off, it's a commercial off-the-shelf product. It's proven. We have nearly 50 active customers today using it. It requires zero coding on your behalf, which is very important. It also has zero schema changes, meaning it requires zero change to the current workflow within your own system. The ability, the configuration, validation, reporting aspects are also what separates it from a custom code. Most importantly, the reporting. You can actually see in a PDF report what was accomplished during that integration, that being the amount of records actually integrated, the time it took to integrate those records, if any discrepancies, any anomalies, any errors, really anything that needs to be highlighted throughout an integration, synchronization, it's done through this report. GeoWorx Sync also does a full comparison of the creates, the updates, deletes, duplicates, and splits to ensure 100% synchronization every single time it is run. And most importantly for you Esri users out there, it already supports the utility network. So, if you currently are looking for a new integration solution, or, you're planning for the migration to the utility network, GeoWorx Sync already supports the utility network, so no need to worry about an integration moving forward.
So with that, we'll move on to our Q&A. We've had some questions come in during the presentation. The first question is, how many records can Sync integrate?
The amount of records is unlimited. So we have enterprises today that only integrate about 150, 350,000. Some of our larger utilities are currently integrating around 7 million. So it really just depends on how many you wish to integrate.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. The other one is, can this tool be used to migrate to the utility network?
No, it does not support the migration from the geometric to the utility network. Esri has some solutions that can help with that. We also have multiple partners that have built migration integrations for that specific need. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, please reach out and we can help coordinate a phone call with those guys.
Okay, the next one is, I saw Infor on your list of planned adapters. When do you plan to build that adapter? And does this include the Infor EAM product?
So for any new adapters that we're going to build, it really is based on priority and need within your own enterprise. So if you guys are looking for an integration solution tomorrow, we can definitely help. However, it does take us roughly 3 to 5 months to build a connector. So that's why we base it off priority and need, because let's say we do have things that we're currently building today. However, if it's something that you guys really need, we can always move it up on our to-do list.
And it is Infor EAM that we're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, the next question is, are most of your Esri utility customers also on ArcFM, and does that cause any complications? So I can answer that one. No, not all of our customers are on ArcFM, but we do have some customers that are on ArcFM along with GIS, and there aren't any issues with that. We do support ArcFM. All right, it looks like that was all the questions. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email us. So with that, I'll just let you know about a few upcoming events that we'll be attending. First of all, we'll be at the Distributech conference in February down in New Orleans, and you can look for us in Esri's booth. We'll also be at the Oracle Utilities User Group Conference in Austin, Texas in March. So please come and talk to us about GeoWorx Sync and how it integrates with the utility network. So with that, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. Feel free to reach out and contact us. Our emails are listed here, as well as you can visit our website for more information. Thanks again. Have a great day.